What is up, guys? It's your boys, Jack Barber, your man Yusuf back in the house. It's been a couple weeks, got a lot going on. We saw the conference semifinals, we saw the conference finals. We're heading up on game 6 of the finals coming up within the next couple of days. It's a really exciting time to be an NBA fan right now. Like we've been saying, this has probably been the most exciting playoffs that we've seen in a long time. We got the finals nobody thought they were going to see. The Milwaukee Bucks, the Phoenix Suns especially, just came out of nowhere. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton finally proven his potential that we thought that he had when he got drafted back in 2018. It's a good time. It's just a good time to be a fan of either one of these teams, because when the Lakers are healthy, when the Nets are healthy, this could be a different league for the next couple of years. It could be, this could be like that middle year where the Rockets won both years that Jordan was retired and out playing baseball. So Yusuf, I want to get your personal opinions. Would you say that this unexpected and quite frankly just it just blew me away that like we've gotten to this point? Are you surprised that this ended up being the finals?
All right. Personally, honestly, I'm gonna put it wrap like this. I was actually shocked with this finals appearance. Like, of course, I had my bets with the Lakers, if not the Nets, going this far. But I like what the Bucks is doing with the Eastern Conference. Like, honestly, this is the year for them to basically come up on top, get that ring for Giannis, and have a healthy career over there in Milwaukee. And with the Phoenix Suns, like, I'm just being honest, like with you, me, and probably all the other fans, like we thought this was going to be another rebuilding team, and Devin Booker was going to leave. Chris Paul winds up joining the team, and all of a sudden everything changed. That entire culture changed. I like what the coach is doing over there, and basically, this is a young team. Like they're doing everything they can, and to be honest, I'm hoping this is just a start for them.
Well, I mean, I want to say it might be the start for them too, but we got to think about it this way. We don't know what Chris Paul's future looks like. This guy's in his mid 30s now. I mean, he's still producing at a very high level, has always been a top 5 point guard in the NBA. The CP3 effect has been proven at this point, maybe not when he stopped at Houston, but when he went to OKC, now he's here. Wherever this guy goes, he wins. Simple as
That is
that.
true. That is true. But you know his main goal is to win a championship, win that elusive first ring. And I'm gonna start us off the conversation. Honestly, we're talking about the NBA Finals right now. Currently, the Bucks are leading with a 3-2 lead. They only need one more win to basically win it all. And the Suns, honestly, they had this lead like 2-0 starting off, and we thought like they were gonna go Suns and four. Shout outs to the Suns and four guy.
Whoever that. Yeah, I want to hang out with that guy. He seems cool. I see, like I see the shirts and they're giving out free Suns and four shirts and all that. I want to live in Phoenix this week. Sounds like a good time. I mean, they're down 3-2, but I mean, hey, Suns and four shirts just being thrown around in the streets. I'll take them.
That's very true. But I gotta get your thoughts on this, Jack. Are we witnessing the downfall or really the destruction of the Phoenix Suns? Because honestly, they haven't had this much problem since the first round with the LA Lakers, especially with LeBron and a healthy AD here and there. But now it's kind of seeming like the Bucks kind of adjusted to their system. They're clinching them with PJ Tucker and Drew Holiday clamping down CP3. And of course, Devin Booker, even though Devin Booker is still averaging at least like 30 something points a game. Are we witnessing just lack of experience on the Phoenix Suns point of view, or is this just pure dominance by Giannis and company?
Maybe a little bit of both. And I want to lean more towards, I think that Giannis is just hungry. And I think that the whole thing, like Giannis is in his prime right now. This guy knows that, the chances are going to run out. They've had early playoff exits the past 2 years, and now they finally made it to the big show. And I don't think that they're wasting any opportunities. They said after they swept the Miami Heat in the first round last month, Giannis famously said, we've been playing with our food too much. We didn't play with our food. Giannis has not been playing with his food this entire finals, maybe when he's shooting free throws. But besides that, Chris Middleton has gone. I feel like Chris Middleton, at least in these playoffs, has taken that plateau, that step from like intermediate star, like like the Robin to Giannis's Batman. These guys are the freaking Justice League now. We got like this guy's dropping 25.1 points per game, I think, in this series. I saw I had the pleasure of watching that game 6 against Atlanta. Middleton filled in for Giannis so well in that game. He was dropping threes every time he touched the ball, all those corner threes. That couldn't be stopped. And you know what? I thought that the Suns were going to win this series based purely off of momentum. We do forget how young of a team that they are, and I mean, there's like they got a lot going for them that I think can help them within the next couple of years. Monty Williams and Chris Paul have a great relationship. I love Monty Williams as a coach. I like his mentality and his mindset. I've seen some of his locker room post game speeches. I really like Monty Williams. Devin Booker obviously has become a megastar throughout the past 2 months. Like the playoffs make stars, and Devin Booker has been the MVP of these playoffs, no doubt about it. Getting all kinds of Kobe comparisons and all these other things, and he's living up to the hype right now. Last night, it was either last night or 2 nights ago, Game 5. He had an incredible performance, and I mean it's the rest of the team at this point. Like I said, DeAndre Ayton stepped up, I would say, in the semifinals and the conference finals. He's not been stepping up now. Oh, shut up, Siri. What is wrong with this watch? I apologize, guys. It's a mess over here. I mean, I'm at the beach right now, as you can see.
I see, and I didn't get an invite. I mean, I'll let Matt know about that later, but but anyway.
You will not tell Matt about this. Yeah, by the way, special shout out, Matt. Happy birthday. Birthday was a few days ago. Matt Fleur. You know the man. Ravens fan, but still great to have him on the show. So happy birthday on behalf of me and the entire crew. But back to the point in question here. Devin Booker has been carrying this team offensively, 39 minutes per game in this series. He's averaging 30 points a game. I mean, Giannis is doing better. Giannis is averaging somewhere around like 32.2 points per game. Chris Paul's been averaging 21. Obviously, he's more of a facilitator, averaging 8.8 assists throughout this series. DeAndre Ayton's really taken a step off, though. He's only averaging 15 points per game. He's getting the rebounds, but not really much else. I'm not seeing a ton of production from him in this series. I think that out of the big three in Phoenix right now, if DeAndre Ayton steps up to the plate, and because DeAndre Ayton is a huge reason that they are at where they're at right now, because you got Chris Paul, you got Devin Booker, that's great. It's going to get you past the first or second round. But you need a third guy to really step up to the plate now. I mean, Chris Middleton and Giannis, that's enough. That's that's a combined like 3 average stars right there. But I'm just going to say this. DeAndre Ayton is going to be the X factor in game 6 and 7, 100%.
I believe you on that. Like, to be honest, I'm just putting it out this way. What coming from the Bucks' point of view, all they had was Giannis. Of course, Giannis going to put up the 40, but it all lies on if Chris Middleton is going to show up and Drew Holiday is going to show up. And from game 3 and 4, at first, like in game 3, we didn't really see too much, but I believe it was game 5 where Chris Middleton had 29 points and Drew Holiday had 27, and especially the game before that, Chris Middleton had 40 points, and of course Drew Holiday stepped up with an easy 23 points, and Giannis was doing his thing. But that's what the Suns need. They need that third guy to solidify them. Like DeAndre Ayton, of course, like you said, he's going to grab those boards, but they're not going to do much where Booker is basically averaging 40, Chris Paul's doing 20, and then all of a sudden DeAndre Ayton is like getting like 12 points. So I agree with you 100% on that. Like this, of course, this is mostly just experience at this point. This is probably getting under his skin. This is probably a lot of pressure. But personally, like if he wants this championship bad, it's basically do or die in this next game coming up. And of course, it's going back to Milwaukee. Milwaukee's hungry to win that chip right there at their home court. And I guarantee you, Jack, we're going to buy tickets too. But everybody's going to be there. Everybody's going to be lying, waiting. This is like most anticipated finals since the 2016 finals with the Cavs and the Warriors. Like anything can happen at this point. But
I completely agree with you. It really is anything can happen. I still think that this is anybody's series, even at that point. A lot of people are swinging towards the Bucks now. Obviously, they're going to. They've won 3 in a row. And they've had such a. And this is something that I've been talking about. I feel like I've been talking about this the past few episodes. They have such a dominant advantage at home. I don't know if the Bucks have lost at home in the past two series, or if they've lost it, or if they lost at home in the semifinals to the Nets. I don't know what it is about this Milwaukee crowd, but they go ham. And maybe it's because we got Green Bay Packers linemen down in beers and bringing their dad over to down beers, and then Aaron Rodgers coming over and slowly down a beer. That was kind of embarrassing, but like there's a vibe going on in Milwaukee right now. Like this is a place. It seems a little bit more marketable than it usually is, and obviously and same goes for Phoenix. Phoenix is like a mid-tier market team right now. This seems like the place to be. Great home field advantage for both sides. Obviously, a little bit more on the Buck side, just considering the dominance that they've had on their home court. And they're playing Game 6 in Milwaukee, so I'm gonna have to throw out my predictions right now. Based off of previous events, I'm gonna have to say Milwaukee's gonna win this Game 6, just because they're at home, just because they got momentum going right now. Giannis is playing great. I'm sorry, I've always called him Giannis, so I'm probably going to continue to do that. But Middleton has been showing out. Like we can't talk about it enough. Brook Lopez has been Brook Lopez. He's been average. He's been doing his job. That's what Brook Lopez has been doing since he left Brooklyn, is just doing his job. Drew Holiday's been showing up, averaging over 17 and a half points per game. He's been facilitating. Drew Holiday, man, he's like a cockroach. And I mean that in a nice way. He won't go away. This guy will just continue to pester you. Like it amazes me that this guy is still relevant all these years later. Like thinking about his days when he was playing for Philadelphia, I thought that was the end of the line for him. And then he goes off to play in New Orleans and all this. This is probably the best we've seen of Drew Holiday, I think, since his heyday back when he did play for Philadelphia.
now, basically, starting with that, do you believe like the Bucks can keep this up, or would this be like more of like, oh, they're just going with the flow? Like, there's like these games were close. It's not like they're blowing out teams. Granted, the only blowout was like what, Game 3, give or take,
Mm-hmm.
when they were in Milwaukee. But honestly, like the last 3 games were released by like 3, if not 6 points, and Phoenix had the opportunity to have the lead against them 3-2. Well, it could be, well, basically the other way around, but for some reason they blew a 16-point lead going into, I believe, the second quarter, and they just lost momentum. It seemed like they were confused. It seemed like they didn't want to be there. The only person that showed up was Devin Booker. Of course, Chris Paul was there with some leadership, but everybody else was kind of just falling apart. And of course, I need to get your opinion on this. The post conference interview, of course, reporter, that was a dumb question from what he would ask. Like personally, like you can tell, like you just tell just by looking at them, they were just fed up. They shouldn't be in this situation, and they're putting themselves more and more in this situation. And I feel like even after that meeting that they had in the post interview game, you can just tell just from Booker and Chris Paul's face, like something needs to change or they're gonna leave. Well, that's a little drastic, but realistically, you can
But
tell like
we'll start off like this. They're not going to win this finals if nothing changes. That's the immediate thing we got to be thinking about. Nobody should be thinking about who's going to leave, who's going to stay. This is a really good Phoenix team, and I think that if all the pieces stay together, maybe get one more like mid-tier to high-tier piece. You know what I mean? Like a guy around the level of like a Mike Conley, or somebody like of that caliber, like somebody who, like, you don't have to get anybody crazy. You don't need another megastar. You don't need like a Durant or a Curry or something like that. But you just need another like high caliber superstar. Like that's what the Bucks have. I think, like, okay, we could look at this from a 1, 2, 3 perspective. So top players on each team. We got Booker and Giannis. That's a tough call. Like they've basically been evenly matched. They've been doing, like, I mean, it's hard to compare a point guard to a small / power forward, but I mean, they're doing their jobs correctly, and they're both doing it at like equally high levels. So nothing to say about that. They're tied right there. Chris Paul has been getting completely outdone by Chris talk about number two players on each guy's team. Middleton's been playing out of his mind, from 3-point range. As far as facilitating for him, let's take a look here. 5.4 assists per game, but he's more of not really, he's not a, 5 assists per game isn't anything to scoff at, but his main job is scoring points. He's been doing that well. Drew Holiday with 17.6 points per game and averaging 9 assists per game. Like, that guy is doing his job. And that's where, again, I got to go back to DeAndre Ayton. We got to make a third man comparison. DeAndre Ayton is getting the rebounds, but he's not getting the points. And I just like his plus minus has got to be worse at this point. I just don't like DeAndre Ayton is literally, I think, the thing you got to look at. This guy was so highly, anticipated when he came out of college. Maybe not, there wasn't like crazy draft stock around him, but this is a guy you think is going to average like 18 points a game and like 14 rebounds. And we've seen him have that. We've seen him show that potential throughout this playoffs. Like, there have been flashes, but he's just not there yet. I just don't think that he's ready for the bright lights of the finals. And that might end up being Phoenix's downfall within the next couple of days. And I know, and real quick, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Jack. I'll let you finish.
Gotcha. I know you were talking about that presser at the end of Game 5, and there was a lot of frustration right now. And listen, as a journalism major, that was a very dumb question. I wouldn't have asked that question. It's like, I don't know. I feel like reporters just say stuff. It's like no publicity.
Own, like publicity and media at that point. Is that what you're trying to say, really? Like,
pretty much. Like, they just say things because it's like no publicity is bad publicity. Let's ask him a dumb question. His response is going to be gold, and then we'll print it on, our website the next day, and we'll put it on Bleacher Report, and everybody will be like, oh man, look at the Suns. They're down bad right now. Buddy, like, if I were to lose a key game, Game 5 is one of the most key games in any best of 7 series. And if I just lost that and I'm looking like down the rabbit hole right now and I am not seeing a way back up, I wouldn't be too happy either. So I would cut him some slack on that. It was directly after a tough loss. I'm sure that, maybe look, you got to do it. You got to recombobulate yourself here, go back out there, play a good Game 6 in a hard environment in Milwaukee. I really hope Phoenix can do it. I'm personally rooting for them in these finals. I love seeing a fresh young team who we could consider underdogs. Nobody thought the Phoenix Suns were going to get here. There were people who thought the Bucks were going to get here, but nobody thought the Suns were going to be here. I am a personal lover of the underdog, so I really hope that Phoenix can pull this one out.
I'm just gonna have to be fairly honest. I know they gotta find that third star. Sometimes it was Jay Crowder, sometimes it's DeAndre Ayton. But you also have to look at it from a team standpoint. Like, the past 2-3 games, like, Phoenix in total out of those games, they had at least like 30 to 40 plus turnovers. Like, I'm looking right now in Game 5, of course they had 8 turnovers, but the team had 20 personal fouls. And of course, most of those foul troubles came to key people that they needed. DeAndre Ayton was one of them. Now, in my opinion, if I were them, I would start to look at this and wonder, what are we doing wrong? Like, look at the game field. What did they find? What is the chip on their shoulder? Like, what did they find that basically is destroying us and just killing us from within? Because you can tell from the frustration. Now, of course, you're gonna have those fans that are gonna be like, blame the refs or blame the NBA because they want to try and get Game 7 out. They want to get the most money out. But I'm not looking at it that way. I'm looking at it more of just like, are you being more lackadaisical, or are you just giving up? You're seeing that they have a 3-2 lead. You're saying that they're hot. You're seeing there's one more chance to get a win, force a Game 7, or are you just giving up and you're like, okay, we're gonna wait until next year? Jack, what's your thoughts on that?
Look, I know that there's a lot of moments where people think that, like, oh, I'm good enough to get here. Maybe let's like pack it all in. We'll try again next year. But those are like the dark thoughts that you have to overcome to win a finals. When your back's against the wall, you can't be thinking like that. And you were talking about Jay Crowder, being that guy sometimes. He has not been that guy in these finals. He's only been averaging 11 points per game, shooting, I think, 17 of 40 throughout the entire series, which is around like 42, 43%. He's got to step up because Jay Crowder has always been, that big guy in the playoffs. He did it with the Heat last year. This is what they signed Jay Crowder for. If DeAndre Ayton can't step up, Jay Crowder has to step up. Like they don't really have many other pieces outside of those four guys who are really going to step up and, get you points when you need to. Honestly, I'm looking at this roster right now. Who else is going to do it? Cameron Payne? No, I don't think so. Like Mikal Bridges. I just I don't see any guys on here who I think are gonna step it up. I mean, Mikal Bridges has been averaging 13 points per game, but you know what? You got to put out a little bit more. Besides the five I just mentioned, Booker, Paul, Ayton, Bridges, and Crowder, nobody on this team is averaging over 10 points per game. And honestly, it's a very slippery slope here because you got Cameron Johnson at 9.6, and then nobody else is averaging over 7. And not to mention the fact that Dario Saric has been out of this series, and he hasn't been playing well in these playoffs.
Though. He was a very vital key. Well, mostly just to space the floor, I believe.
Yeah, you can't look at all offensive stats, especially when we're talking about Dario Saric. Being a European player, it's not really about individual performance. It's more so about, the team itself. And I think that, like you said, he spaces the floor out. He's a good he's a good bench role player. He's not putting up the numbers he did in Philadelphia, but I think that he's obviously on this team. He serves a purpose there. It was a shame to see him get injured because I like Dario Saric, but there's just not as many guys to go to as there are in Milwaukee. I just think that they're getting outgunned right now. They got, outside of the big three with Antetokounmpo, Middleton, and Holiday, they got Brook Lopez, Pat Connaughton, who I've always thought was very underrated. They got PJ Tucker, who, not gonna lie, I think he's pretty overrated. But that's beside the Bobby Portis,
the Draymond of the Eastern Conference. Prove me wrong.
I completely agree with you. The less talented Draymond of the Eastern Conference, but yeah. So neither one of these teams has a really really deep bench. But I think that having a deep bench obviously matters a lot in the long run. And I think that with Milwaukee, they definitely have that deeper bench, just by a little bit of a margin. But that's why the starters got to step up. It's the playoffs. You're going to be playing them a lot anyway. No starters going to be playing under 40 minutes a game now, so got to make sure that they can go the distance, get it done.
Now, I wanted to get your predictions since basically the finals isn't over until it's over. We got another game coming up. I believe it's tomorrow. I assume actually no, correction. Tuesday, July 20th is the game 6. Of course, it's in Milwaukee. Who do you got, Jack? Is it going to end in Milwaukee, or is the Suns going to pull a game 7?
Well, like I said before, man, look, I'm going to be rooting for the Suns. My heart is with the Suns. My money's on the Bucks. It's Giannis, despite all the trolling that he's gotten in this playoffs with his his style of play. I mean, particularly talking about free throws and all that, he's been pretty injury prone. He was. I think it was either at the start of this. No, it wasn't at the start of the series. Towards the end of the Western Conference Finals, throughout all the injuries, he's still here. He's still, averaging over 32 points per game. Middleton's been playing lights out. I just think the Bucks got too much momentum right now, going in, playing at home in Milwaukee, which has just been a godsend for them. The home court advantage has really been working for them. So, hate to say it, but guess you were right, Dan. Milwaukee's winning the whole thing.
I gotta agree with you more. I feel like the Bucks are too much. They're too much on a hot streak. Too much momentum going in. Unless the Suns decide to just have a amazing game and just drop it and basically have a 30-point lead, they can't keep it close. And we already witnessed they already blew a 16-point lead, and the Bucks ran away with it. So I have the Bucks winning as well. Probably close, maybe a 3-point game, but I feel like Chris Paul is going to have to wait another year to try and chase that ring, and we're going to witness another star in the making of Giannis Antetokounmpo, guys.
I will say this, though. One way or another, I think whoever wins game 6, obviously if Milwaukee wins, they're going to win the whole thing, obviously, just by the math. But whoever wins this game, one way or another, I think is going to win the entire finals. If Phoenix can somehow crawl out of Milwaukee with a win, I think that they're going to win game 7 in Phoenix. So just want to leave the audience to think about that. You know, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. We always do. Want to thank you. Also, I want to have a quick shout out to all of our subs. We just reached over 700 subscribers as of today. You guys are what's been making this possible. Thank you so much. We never thought it would get this far, so just want to, give a little shout out and appreciation. We love all you guys.
Of course, of course, of course. Before we quickly end it, I just need to get a little quick opinion. Speaking of the NBA Finals, we got the Olympics coming through with the USA basketball team. I did like this lineup coming in, but for some reason, I do not know why, it doesn't seem like we're up to par anymore. It seems like we're on, like, everybody's either catching up or we're just downgrading slowly to where it's an even playing field and everything else is going. I just wanted to get your opinions on that, Jack. Do you believe that the world itself finally caught up with everybody in the NBA, or is it just that USA basketball isn't that important to players in the United States anymore?
Look, basketball has, and I think always will be, based in, and like, the best basketball players in the world play for the United States. There's no question about that. We have dominated this sport in the Olympics for generations now. We could talk about the 92 Dream Team. We could talk about the 2012 Redeem Team, with LeBron playing there and Kobe and all these other guys. Carmelo Anthony was always a great piece on Team USA. Something's not clicking right now. And I think that, honestly, we're overconfident at this point. I think that it's not even so much that we don't have the skill to do it. It's just that we've gotten lazy. We've let these other countries figure out ways to kind of like game plan around like the United States style of play, which is more of an individualistic style of basketball. It's more about, oh, I scored the most points. I scored the most points. These guys don't care. These guys are about winning ball games. That's how it is in the FIBA league. That's how it is in the Euroball league. So I mean, like, we lost, we're out here losing to Nigeria and Australia. Kevin Love can't join the team anymore. I think he either got injured or he withdrew or something like that. And who do we have to replace him? The all-time leader in the Shaq and the Fool category, JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee is on Team USA. JaVale McGee is playing for the national United States of America basketball team. I just want to let that sink in, everybody. We are so desperate. We are so desperate that we called up JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee, of all people. James Harden was supposed to be on this team. I think that Kevin Durant was supposed to be on this team. Was he not?
Yes, Durant is on this team, leading this team, of course, with the same as Damian Lillard. And you also have Draymond Green as well, and Jason Tatum. You do have Jason Tatum. Who else is there besides JaVale McGee?
But like, even the guys you just named, no excuses. Jason Tatum, best thing that happened to Boston since Paul Pierce. Kevin Durant. Do I have to say anything about Kevin Durant? I don't think so. We have all this superstar talent. It's got to come. It's got to come down to laziness. I don't know what else. I feel like these, like, okay, I know they're exhibitions, but have a little pride. We're trying to win gold medals out here, and you can't even win a preliminary game against Nigeria. Who plays for Nigeria? I want to know. I want to know who's on the Nigerian national team. Actually, who is on the Nigerian national team?
There's a few good young talent over there. I can't pronounce their names. I'm sorry, fans. You can also look up the Nigerian basketball team. Of course, Nigerian pride. But honestly, they're really good, and they're NBA stars. The same thing with Australia. For example, Ben Simmons was supposed to be on Australia team, but you also have Jonathan Simmons, who's leading the Australian team. You also have Joel Ingles, who's also on that team. Like, it's a lot of scrappy role players that we don't really get that necessarily coverage, or they don't have the superstardom, but they're putting in work and they're representing their home countries. like I'm thinking it's getting to that point where even in the youth and like AAU circuits, we're starting to get more and more complacent to more of the flashiness where everybody else is overseas is getting more skilled. And it's just going to come down to the point of who wants it more. It's either the kid that thinks he's all that or the kid that's going to grind every day. I
That's
just
true. And you know what? That's the thing about these international games. I feel like the grinders are really shining through, and you know what? As well, they should. It's not all about you, especially in this, especially in, basketball. It's obviously a huge team sport. But I'm looking at the Nigerian national team now. I don't know if this is the current roster because Al Farouk Aminu is on here. Um,
okay.
and if Al Farouk Aminu is one of the stars of this team, then I don't understand. They got to be playing some really good team ball over there, but yeah, I don't know. Also, a little side note for the fans, speaking of sports, this is a sports podcast, of course. Any of you guys see Space Jam? I saw Space Jam. I thought it was. Did you
I
see
need
Space
your
Jam?
I need your opinion on that. I want to see it. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna go to the theaters. I got HBO Max, but is it worth it, Jack? Is it worth it in your opinion?
You know what? I went to a drive-in movie theater last night to go see it. You know what? It is worth seeing. There's some good cameos. There's like a Rick and Morty Easter egg in there. Like they got all these like they got all the Warner Brothers characters out for this. Decent storyline. Look. That you cannot get much worse than the original Space Jam. I'm sorry. Michael Jordan acting was not the way that he made $1 billion in revenue, all right? I mean, obviously he made a ton of, money off the movie, but I never thought that the original Space Jam was good. Bill Murray did all he could for that movie, but you couldn't overcome LeBron's horrible acting. Or not, no, not LeBron, Michael Jordan's. But you know what? LeBron had more acting potential, I think, than Michael Jordan does. I saw it last night. He was kind of funny. Um,
Really?
yeah, like honestly, Space Jam I view as like not a good movie and not a movie that I would go see if I didn't know who Michael Jordan was or like the Looney Tunes. It was just I saw the first one more as a cash grab, and obviously the second one is a cash grab as well. But it's a cash grab with a halfway decent plot and halfway decent actors. So you know what? Honestly, I'm gonna give it like I hate to sound. I mean, this isn't Fandango.com. This is CrunchTime Sports. But as far as the movie rating, I'm gonna give this one a 6.5. So honestly, it's worth going out to see, guys. You'll have some laughs, 100%.
Okay. Oh yeah,
Fork up $10.
answering your question prior for the potential USA Olympic team roster. This is for the Olympics. You have Bam Adebayo, Bradley Beal. Well, now he's out. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Jeremy Grant, Draymond Green, Drew Holiday, uh, Keldon Johnson, Zach Levine, Damian Lillard. Kevin Love was on it, but replaced by JaVale McGee, Chris Middleton, and Jason Tatum. And honestly, we got a few future stars in there, but I feel like we could have made a better team. I know, like, of course, a lot of fans are gonna come in the comments like, but crunch time, everybody was injured. Like, if we had everybody, it would be fine. I'm like, okay, but why didn't we give our young stars a chance? We got Trey Young, Zion Williamson, LaMelo Ball. Like, we have people in their like early 20s that prove they can be stars. Why don't you let them go at it and let Chris Popovich teach these young kids how to basically dominate in the league and just show dominance, because we already know what they can do. It's no point of just letting anybody just join the team. I mean, of course, everybody earned it, but I just feel like we're just being more and more complacent. Like we don't care about the Olympics. Like everybody cares is just the finals, and that's it. I'm just like, just show some pride. Like show the love for the basketball. Show the love for the sport.
And that's it. I don't think that there's any pride because think about it. On paper, like at the base of it, we could literally have all the greatest players. Like if they took a little bit of their time, come out. We get LeBron, we get AD, we get all like Durant, Irving, like all these guys. Not Giannis. I think wasn't Kyrie born in Australia? No.
Yes, but
Yeah.
he can join the USA team or the Australia team. So
Okay. So he's got dual citizenship then. Okay. But yeah, like I'm saying, Kyrie, like basically all the superstars like the 92 Dream Team, but we don't because these guys figure they got better things to do with their time than represent their country. Meanwhile, every other country is literally getting every major player that they can to try to make a run at a championship finally in the USA's Olympic dominance. Like we're letting our guard down. It's simple as that. I mean, I understand these guys got lives, and maybe it's better for ratings because it'll actually make the game's a little bit more interesting to watch. But like we're this isn't a gold medal team. This isn't a gold medal team that I've seen play this week. So you know what? You got to put up or shut up.
Especially if Spain and Australia are reing up and they're ready to go. Like, I don't know.
Spain's always been a threat. Those three, that's like the big three national teams: Spain, Australia, and the United States. Spain and Australia. Somebody might be going for gold this year, Yusuf. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not going to be mad about it. Like, of course, you can also say like, but everybody didn't have rest because of the COVID situation. Now, let's just be realistic. The NBA honestly could have shortened the season like they did back in 2012 and did like 50, 60 games, but they wanted to grab and cash grab that profit so bad. They're willing to extend it. I mean, they shortened it to 72, I believe 72 games.
Yep, 72.
They did shorten it, but they could have shortened it more. So then you would have had more healthy legs in the playoffs. Like we already broke records with injuries for the playoffs. I think we had like 20 plus injuries, and all of them were all main stars. And now we're kind of suffering from it because all of them are either recovering. Some of them don't even want to like do any other type of basketball for another 2-3 months. It's just come to that point where we're just shaking our heads of disappointment. Like we could have had better, but
well, I mean, the way that I see it too, I feel like playing. Okay, so if you're a team, right, and you're in the playoffs, you make it from the first round all the way to the NBA Finals. I feel like that level of like grueling and like grinding, like all that, is the equivalent to a full regular season. Based off of the minutes that these guys are playing, they're playing like they're playing every other night still, basically, but they're playing their hearts out there. So I agree with you on that end. I always thought, because I remember the NBA used to do this. It was I think the first round or like the first two rounds used to be like best of 5 series. What's the harm in doing that? Why not do that? Like I don't know why they all have to be best of 7. I mean, hey, because what's the point out there? You know what I mean? Like we got series like I'll give you a perfect example, like Heat Bucks or like the Wizards Sixer series. Like we don't need one of these guys to win 4 games to know who the better team is. You think anybody like betting on MGM and FanDuel was picking the Wizards to win that series? No. The Sixers could have easily beaten them in 3 games, and we wouldn't have batted an eye about it. Like we would have been like, well, that's what was probably going to happen anyway. So, I just think it's kind of pointless to have all of these 7 games, like all these best of 7 series. Definitely for like the conference finals and for the NBA finals, obviously best of 7. It's got to be. But as far as maybe the semifinal, or like the quarterfinals, maybe the semifinals, I'm still on the fence about that. Make it like best of 5 series.
Well, I do know this. They are keeping the play-in tournament for the 7th and 8th seed. It was a huge success, actually.
Love to hear that.
They are planning on doing it for the following years to come. But of course, the NBA it's not broken, so why fix it? I mean, I like the changes here and there, but you also got to realize like it's a lot of stuff that we as fans are gonna have to get used to, and just as players, like of course we're not players, but like the actual pros out there, they gotta start getting used to all this because they're the ones going out there busting their ass for a paycheck every day, and we're just sitting there and watching. But but viewers in the comment sections below, got 2 questions for you. Jag, I'll give you the first question. I'll do the second question. So I'll let you go first.
All right, I got one for you guys. I kind of asked myself. I mean, I answered my own question on this before. If Phoenix somehow comes out of Milwaukee with a win on Tuesday night, who's going to win Game 7? Right. With Phoenix playing at home, do they have the advantage? Can Milwaukee overcome it? Let me know, guys.
All right. I guess I'll leave it with my question. Do you feel like USA basketball is finally not the less basically, how can I put it this way? Are they finally the victims of
Vulnerable? Is
yeah,
that the word? Yeah. Are they
there we
vulnerable?
go, vulnerable. Is there like chinks in the armor? Did every other country step up and now like going to dethrone USA basketball in the Olympics, if not every other tournament? Let us know in the comment sections below. But anyway, I can't wait for game 6. I don't know about you guys, but this has been another Crunch Time episode. It's Jack and Yusuf. We'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.